You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program.
Well, we're in full hysteria mode here in the United States. We've done this several times now. They took away all of our silverware on the flights for a while. Now in first class, I guess they've got metal silverware back. They took away our toenail clippers. You still can't bring a bottle of water on an airplane. Now they want to check us all out naked. And but that, reports are that these full-body scanners would not have detected the powder sewn into this guy's underwear over Christmas in the first place. And B, last year there was a suicide bomber who tried to kill a Saudi prince by stuffing over a pound of explosive up his butt, lit the thing off, and it exploded. His arm was stuck in the ceiling. That would not have been detected by one of these full-body scanners. Michael German is with us. He is the ACLU Washington Legislative Office Policy Counsel and, as well, a former agent of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Michael German, welcome. ACLU.org, of course, the website. Michael, welcome to the program. Oh, I'm sorry, Michael. I thought I pushed the button and I didn't. There you go. Now you're on the air.
All right. Well, thanks for having me.
Hey, Michael. Welcome. The ACLU, if I have this correct, is taking the position that these full-body scans are an unconstitutional invasion of our Fourth Amendment rights of privacy. Do I have that right?
Well, not entirely. We're not against the use of anything when there is particularized, individualized suspicion and probable cause to believe that it's necessary to.
Well, that's what the Fourth Amendment provides for.
Right,
It says,
exactly.
If there's, evidence and
exactly.
Yeah.
There may be some application for this in particular situations. We're
Sure.
not saying that you should never use it, but. First of all, one of the things we have to consider is our freedoms were very hard won, and once given up, they're hard to get back. So when a question comes up that a particular methodology or technology needs a sacrifice of the ordinary American's rights, we should be very skeptical. And this particular technology, body scanning, actually would not, as you said earlier, protect against the threat we're facing today. So the idea that we should employ a technique we know won't provide us any more security and has a huge negative privacy effect, it just sort of shows the knee-jerk reaction that the government has where they want to say they're doing something, even if that something doesn't really improve security. And when it involves the violation of our rights and our privacy, we need to make sure that we protect those to the fullest.
We're talking with Michael German. He is the ACLU Washington Legislative Office Policy Counsel and a former FBI agent. Michael, I have a theory about this I'd like to run by you. Tell me if I'm crazy, if this is too far out there in the conspiracy realm. We've got Michael Chertoff, who owns stock in or is employed by or somehow is connected with one of the companies that sells these full-body scanners. We've got him running all over the media. Any camera, if you get between him and a live TV camera, your life's at risk. Your physical safety is at risk. You got him running around saying, "Oh, we got to have these things everywhere. Everybody's got to." When the back in the 70s when we were having hijackings of planes, that's when we first got, I believe, the maybe it was the 80s. We first got the metal detectors and then the X-ray machines and all this kind of stuff, and of course it went on steroids after 9/11, and it seems to me that if we were to simply employ the same kind of psychographic testing, as it were, that the Israelis use. I don't know if you've ever flown into or out of Israel.
No, I haven't.
You haven't? Okay. Let me tell you, it's an experience. And the reason why it's an experience is because they have very, very, very well-trained people who stand there and look you right in the eye and say, "Why are you coming into our country? Who are you going to visit? Oh, how do you know that person? What street do they live on?" And there's like a series of questions, 5 or 6 questions. It doesn't take a long time unless you answer wrong. And they are looking not for the technology. I mean, of course, they have scanners, but they're not looking for the technology. They're looking for the person, the terrorist. And my theory is that the reason why we're not doing that is because there's no interest group that will make money on that. Mm-hmm. Whereas you've got a whole bunch of technological products that represent hundreds of millions of dollars in profit that are being sold to Congress really aggressively. We're going to get scanners that are ineffective. Why? Because GE or whoever makes them is going to make millions of bucks on them. And in the meantime, The only question we're going to be asked is, did anybody give you anything to carry on the plane? And it's going to be asked by somebody who isn't trained to be an interrogator.
I definitely agree with your point that, far too many of the media outlets are putting the people who have an interest in these machines and selling these machines on as experts rather than on as salesmen, and of course salesmen, snake oil salesmen will say that their snake oil is going to cure all. Right. And we need to be very skeptical of that just from a consumer advocacy standpoint, much less when they're talking about actually taking away your rights.
Yeah.
So,
but when you show up at Israel to get on a plane, I mean, they know who you are before you get there. They've done their homework. They've got a good security apparatus, and they ask questions designed to draw out somebody who might be a terrorist. Why can't we do that? Instead of all this kabuki theater. I mean, we're taking our shoes off. It's absurd. A couple of months ago, I flew through 2 European airports where, I offered to take my shoes off, and one of them actually laughed at me and said, "We are not afraid like you Americans are." Right.
And I think what you're getting to is we need to be much more intelligent in addressing the threat as it exists.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly right, and that's exactly what we've been calling for here at the ACLU. I mean, and you think back even further to the Patriot Act, if you just give up your rights over communications and your electronic records, then you'll be safe. The Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act amendments, if only you give up your privacy over international conversations, then you'll be safe. Right. And, of course, all these infringements on the ordinary American's rights provided not one whit of security, as we found out on Christmas this year. Right. So what we really need our elected representatives to do is to go back and do a comprehensive review of what the intelligence community is doing with all this information. And the one key issue is that information they have collected about innocent people is never going to tell them who the guilty people are. And that's sort of what the rationality that is missing from this debate.
Yeah, it seems like there are lessons to be learned from the way that the British dealt with the IRA, the Italians dealt with the Red Brigades, the Germans dealt with the Baader-Meinhof gang, the Spanish to this day are dealing with ETA, the Basque separatist group. None of them are bombing those territories. None of them are doing these kind of crazy, stupid things that we're doing all around. Instead, they're all using good old-fashioned police and intelligence techniques.
In my experience as an FBI agent, I was able to use those constitutionally sound law enforcement techniques to proactively investigate and prosecute terrorists. Yeah. So that's really the most effective way.
I mentioned when I first brought you on, Michael German with the ACLU, ACLU.org, I mentioned that there was an attempt to kill a Saudi prince, I think last year, by a guy who pushed a pound of explosives up his butt and then lit it off, and it never would have been detected by one of these machines. In the minute that we have left here, how long is it going to be before they're starting to ask us all to bend over and spread them? I mean, where is this going to go?
Well, that's certainly the fear, that this is a slippery slope, and like you said, it was take your shoes off because the terrorist had put his bomb in his shoe, and then the next terrorist puts his bomb in his underwear, and now they want to see us all naked. So, it's definitely a problem, and again, it goes back to making sure we know what the threat is and focus on the individuals we have some reason to believe are a threat.
Right, and doing it smart. Right. It's just and using the legal methods that are already there to obtain information, because they work when they're used appropriately. It's just the Bush administration was trying to do all these shortcuts, and I fear that many of them are going to continue. Michael German with the ACLU, ACLU.org is the website. If you're not a member of the ACLU, join today. Michael, thanks so much for the work.
Thanks for having me on, Thom.
That you're doing. Thank you very much. Good talking with you.